Now, is your recording from when the stream starts or from when YouTube goes live? So I know when to launch the intro.
Relay's receiving the info.
Acknowledged. Pulling up intro script.
Be going live here in about 30 seconds.
And everybody, welcome to the hed-gp Shield Timer Showdown. I am Chaos Utama with my good friend BC Pro, and tonight we're going to be giving you continuous coverage of all the timers, both hed-gp Station, iHub, and every fight in between the Hero Coalition, Brave Newbies, Test of Sound Mind, versus the might of the Super Capital Fleet of Pandemic Legion. Again, unfortunately, we're only on Shield timers tonight, so there won't be any dramatic ungodly powerful battles to be seen. However, Pandemic Legion has yet to let us down, so do please stay with us, and we'll be right back with continuing coverage of the hed-gp Showdown. And everybody, thank you for bringing back the hed-gp showdown of the shield timers. Again, I am Chaos Utama with my good friend BC Pro, our glorious leader of the Bloodline Alliance. And here tonight, we're going to bring you continuous commentary of all the fights, hopefully to be found, between the Hero Coalition, today featuring Brave Newbies, Test Alliance, and Of Sound Mind versus, again, the super capital might of Pandemic Legion. Again, thus far, a fairly impressive setup, and Pandemic Legion has yet to let us down. BC, have you got anything for us tonight?
All local looking pretty quiet right now. Local hed-gp is up about 165. Pandemic Legion just had about a 15-man interceptor on grid trying to decloak bombers. Fortunately, the live cam was not decloaked, so we are good to go.
Oh, that would be an unfortunate event if we lost our camera. I mean, that would just not fun time at all. I mean, it'd be very amusing. I'm not going to say I won't laugh at you if that happens, but it would not be a fun night for us.
I'd probably laugh too.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so we've got the planetary set up all ready to go. We've got Pandemic Legion all set up and ready to go. They've got the intercept moving into position, and it's going to be quite fun. What do you think today, BC? You got anybody for you on your favorites list today? You going with Hero just in general, or you going with the Pandemic Legion? What do you think?
I've always personally been a hero of the underdog, but ultimately at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. For those who weren't aware last night, Mr. Hurley did manage to lose his Titan in Victor 3, which we'll talk about a little later on this evening.
That was a beautiful
really
Avatar kill. I'm not even going to lie. That was a good chunk of fun to be had.
Add to that. You never know. It's been kind of back and forth between PL and between Hero Coalition, so ultimately we'll see what happens when people load the grid.
Well, in that case, looks like you and I are going to be on opposite sides of this one today because, I'm always a big fan of the big stick, and when Pandemic Legion does decide to come down to play, they usually bring the bigger stick. Despite the fact Brave makes up for it again as the largest corp and alliance in all of EVE Online, sometimes numbers don't always win you the fight.
I can't argue with that, but I'm still of the mindset that the big stick, while it may be big in general, it can still be broken.
Well then, it's going to be a fun fight tonight. Everybody, again, stay tuned. We are about 7 minutes now from the kickoff final timer going live. And again, we're going to bring you continuing coverage all night long up till one side is completely vaporized, which I personally am really rooting for. And so again, everybody just stick with us. We're going to have a great night planned for you. Lots of commentary, a couple interviews possibly coming up. And again, live feature footage coming straight to you live from the war zone. Again, uncut, unedited. This is EVE as we know it, and in some cases hate it. But again, everybody stay tuned, and it's going to be a great time tonight.
So there was a little Sinojammer thing they were killing and replacing over here on Planet 4-1 earlier on. We're going to go take a look at this real quick, see if anything's going on over there.
Oh, really? Is it the mobile Sinojammer or is it the soft structure Sinojammer? Because I can't really see Hero getting behind either of those, honestly.
It was the substructure jammer, actually, and they were actually killing it with the pod.
Oh, really? So they were putting in the expensive stuff tonight. And given the fact that Brave's jump bridge was taken out earlier today, I'm believing possibly by Pandemic Legion in preparation for this. Taking out the Sinojammer, I think this means we're in for a really, really good show tonight.
We'll go have a little look over at the SV5 gate and take a look, see what's going on over there, since nothing was on the iHub earlier.
Works for me. And then again, for those of you who are not familiar with it, those you might possibly be watching from high-sec, wormholes, the Sino generator that we are talking about is a soft structure deployable on a POS on your own station off to the side there, generates a continuous Sino field, allows for the Sino generator, will allow for a jump drive ship, capital, dreadnought, what have you, to jump to it at any given time, always has the Sino active, and the Sino generator jammer is the complete opposite, prevents any standard Sino field from being lit within the entire system. Now, this does not include the Cove Ops Sino, which our good friends at Pandemic Legion have been so happy to exploit from time to time in a good hot drop. But this ought to be very interesting. Them knocking out the Sino jammer, enabling the straight Sinos to be lit, means I think we're going to be seeing some caps tonight. What do you think, BC?
I think it's a strong possibility. I'm actually just landed about 300 off the Pandemic Legion Tengu fleet. It looks like it's a standard Tengu supported by skirmishes.
Oh, all right. And who have we got FCing for that one?
Beats me, but it's probably one of the usuals. Actually, I'm seeing Tengus with no skirmishes. So what might be a rare chance that we saw about 2 weeks ago in the QTAC U timer where they brought Tengus plus triage chimeras.
Whoa, that would be interesting. That would also explain knocking out the Sino jammer, because that Chimera being an awfully expensive carrier to be bringing into the field. Now, not quite as common and popular as the Triage Archon, the Triage Chimera would still be a good choice. That would also explain your lack of logistical support. However, I don't think that that's what they have in mind tonight.
Ultimately, we shall see. Sino Jammer goes online pretty quickly here, and ultimately that'll dictate whether they're Sinoing caps in, one jump out, directly in the target, or they're driving them gate to gate. Either one is possible.
And then given the new Phoebe changes, the fact that you can start bringing caps through gates, I think is going to play for some interesting stuff tonight. It might just be me, but I personally am still waiting to see the kill mails rolling in where someone uses a carrier to bust up a gate camp, because a couple of sabers and an interceptor popped by a carrier, surprised is not the word I would be using.
Embarrassing would be a little more accurate for me, but that's about that.
That would be something. And as you can see, we're also being joined who brought you the live footage of BTAC R5RB, the Titan Massacre of Nullsec. What was that? 3,000 or 30,000 destroyed in a day. I don't recall the exact year, but 80 some odd Titans, multiple super carriers, heavy carriers. He is the man when it comes to large battles, and seeing him here gives me much confidence and faith. We're going to be seeing some good times tonight. And again, I'm seeing some familiar faces in the not PL, I apologize, in the Tengu fleet coming in. That is PL, actually. Our good friend Elise Randolph in the Tengu fleet. This is going to be a good time, fun for all. And I tell you what, boys and girls, we are in for a real treat. The PL Tengu fleet, while not quite as well known as their super capital fleet, is still something you do not want to get caught by.
On a little trivia note here, since you bring up Elise Randolph, I have to bring up a little point that was made about a week ago or something like that. Randolph was running around with a neutral booster Tengu and an Orthus shooting people, and he got popped a couple times, once by Bloodline, once by a couple other dudes and whatever. And long short of it is, he was saying for every Orthus he loses, you're going to take a system and catch. So we'll ultimately see if that holds true.
Wow, that ought to be really interesting then. I had not actually heard that, and given the fact that Ketch is still pretty much the Thunderdome of the South, they ought to have some stiff competition, especially with the Russians coming in from the South. It's going to be really entertaining. Very fast. Whoop. And it appears we've got some brave engagement on the SNFV gate, engaging the Tengu fleet. Possibly just a scouting probe. I'm seeing warp scrams coming up, and let's see what we get.
Looks like PL is bouncing to attack. I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but they're taking a scenic tour of the gate.
Well, to be fair, they've got plenty of time rolling in before this timer. They've still got approximately, 4 or 5 minutes before this thing goes live. And even then, you got to factor in Brave has to get all sorted out, which is no small feat. I mean, for the fact they are the largest alliance, largest corporation, as we continually mention out there, you would expect the numbers to roll in fast enough when they form up a fleet, but honestly, in the last few weeks, I've yet to really see a fleet number over more than about 200 people. With the exception, of course, of Hurley's Avatar, which is, of course, everybody's favorite event since the Revenant kill that crashed the server.
Well, that had to be a big morale hit for the Hero Coalition, that's for sure. Or a boost, rather, morale boost.
There was that, and then there was about a week ago, I believe it was Pandemic Legion in Hero again. There was the system flip, where Hero dropped caps in an attempt to escalate PL, lost 22 billion, I believe.
We can't all be winners.
Can't all be winners. Some are going to be losers. And in the words of the famous Jeff Foxworthy, comedian and redneck galore, some of us were just meant to flip burgers. And with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break here real quick, folks. We'll be right back with you here about 2-3 minutes or so, just in time to kick off the iHub timer. Again, Pandemic Legion versus Hero Coalition in the hed-gp Shield Smackdown. We'll be right back with you here on the Bloodline News Forum. Nah, not till you come back. And of course, we are back here again. My good friend BC Pro and I are standing by as the iHub timer has come out. And again, if you would like to join us, if you are listening live, you can join us in the chat channel, hed-gp, all caps, dash in the middle between the head and the GP, Smackdown, capital S, and then Smackdown. And again, if you are watching live, you want to comment, want questions, anything you want us to know, please join the channel, let us know. We'll be keeping an eye on that all day. And the Tengus are starting to rip into that iHub with no real BC. I may be mistaken here, but I don't see a reaction coming from Hero. This is interesting.
At this immediate moment, no. All I am seeing is Tengus on grid. I see no logistical support, which means they either A, got that Sinojammer online and they're here without capital for Logi, or B, their carriers are just had to make a pit stop for gas or something.
Well, there's that, and then again, my big concern here, this is Hero's home system. I would really have expected a better reaction coming out of them, honestly. I haven't even seen so much as really more than one scout. Now, granted, their iHub is a core bookmark, and they can warp right to it. There's no need to really probe it down, but again, it's making me wonder what the end game here, if they're just not going to fight for it, or if this is going to turn into a much more tactical matchup.
I'm expecting a counter drop here in a minute. Then again, I get excited over that.
And PL is leaving grid. This is interesting.
So they're on the way back to the SV5 gate, so we shall go live and follow.
We should.
I can find my right bookmark. I'll be going live.
That always does seem to be a problem, doesn't it?
Yeah, when you got so many friggin' bookmarks, it's like, yeah, okay.
Even all that CCP has done to help us out with this, still just don't have enough core bookmarks and then Alliance bookmarks. While granted the bookmarks in space are nice, this is a very nice touch. Thank you, CCP Siegel, and everyone under her command for that amazing... Quiet looked at space quite. And while we're warping off to the SV5 gate, we'll get you a good angle, leaving a stiletto back on the iHub, possibly as either a warp-in or just as an advanced scout. So this could just be a provoking for the good fights. However, I have to wonder, even if this is just provoking for the good fights, which Pandemic Legion is well known for, if Hero doesn't show up, makes me wonder what's going to happen, because angering the beast that is Pandemic Legion is not a good idea.
Could be a mix of a couple of things, actually. They could just be trying to bore him to death and have a big old showing for the armor timer, or it could be, mix. We're going to see like something really crazy happen here in a second.
Well, a little bit of crazy always is nice to see. And again, if you are listening live, or if you just want to come in and comment and just let us know if we're doing good job, bad job, you hate us, you want us to go away, join us in the chat channel, hed-gp Smackdown. Again, hed-gp, all caps. Smackdown, capital S, and we would love to hear your input as we continue what is turning into a rather anticlimactic day, I must say, as far as Hero Coalition is concerned. I mean, as of yet, all we're really seeing is the Tengu fleet of Pandemic Legion with assorted Garmer, Interceptors, and the occasional E-War, along with a Saber for interdiction. I'm, again, still not seeing really much of any real response from the Hero Coalition. There is a single Interceptor here on the SV5 gate keeping tabs, and even he's gone now. There's no wreck, there's no real tax, and it doesn't really seem like there's any real jockeying of their forces. And it makes me wonder, with their jump bridge to GE-TAC 8 down, if that was something they were really counting on to get reinforcements out of deep Hero territory.
We're seeing a bubble up on the gate now, so something might be about ready to happen.
One can only hope, because I must say, for all the scut we give to Hero, occasionally we do expect a little bit better from them, and it's not that they're bad, it's not that sometimes they just can't do it, sometimes we just expect a little bit more. Might be me, might just be a bad assumption. I mean, now as we have a pair of Hero Interceptors warping right into the interdiction bubbles, makes me wonder if they're advanced scouts or possibly just heroes trying to fight the good fights. Because those interdictors are by no means invincible. I actually saw a good kill mail the other day. It was earlier in this week, but maybe 2 days ago. Saw a couple of Sabers taken out by, of all things, Battle Nereises. It was the funniest thing. They were hull-tanked Battle Nereises. I plugged it into EFT. You can get over 30,000 EHP on one of those. And it was just the funniest kill mail. I saw it, and I just couldn't stop laughing.
I'm gonna actually see if I can pull that kill mail up for you while we're sitting here waiting for something. Give me a quick sec.
All right, that would be really cool. I remember one of them was a little bit shiny, had, I believe, an X-type micro warp drive. But yes, Battle Nereises. Is this possibly the return of the Battle Industrials? It could be quite entertaining should those start coming back. Because after those, we'll of course follow the Battle Ventures, the Battle Hulks, and some of those are just really fun to watch. Whoop. And we can see a neutral crow actually now getting stuck in the bubbles. He's about to get obliterated as well. This is really not the best showing. I mean, it's not the worst showing, not by far. It just makes me wonder a little bit. But again, they are hero. They are the dominant sov holders of catch. The undisputed champions of the region, even given the little spate with Providence. Hero Coalition is still, again, the biggest coalition in the game, and albeit, yes, one of the newer ones, they have a little to learn, but simultaneously, there is room for potential. I see potential in the Hero Coalition, especially with their goal of trying to teach new people how to live in nullsec. It really is an admirable goal, and I would love to see the Hero Coalition really prosper out here. What do you think?
I think it's a great thing, honestly. It's for the longest time, Zero Sec's been really stagnant with older players, and there's been no real new life breathed into this. I think this is a great thing.
Well, and as we're talking, I see a Hero Atron coming up on grid. The aptly named Derpatron, made famous by the Hero Coalition, flown in fleets of well over 200 Atrons, as used to be one of their staple calling cards, which was always quite some fun to see come out of a gate. It would always kind of startle you at first when you first saw it. Didn't take away anything from its power. It was always a very solid, very steady fleet comp for new players. And again, it's just not something you see very often anymore. They've switched more to a MOA doctrine, and even from then I've heard they are switching back into Dominixes. So it makes me wonder if they're going back to the good old days of frigate warfare. And a Hero Thrasher. Oh, we might possibly have a Hero fleet land. Nope. Give me just a second here, as I do apologize for the bit of stuttering today, you guys. We are currently watching the PL Tengu fleet just jockeying for position. They're approximately 200 or so off the gate. The drag bubbles are down. And, yep, unfortunately, another one bites the dust for the Hero Coalition. And this is going to be a clash of superpowers, is what I'm really hoping for. I'm really hoping to see the combined mass and obliterating power of the super capital fleet of the Pandemic Legion versus the sheer numbers that can be brought to bear by Hero Coalition. It could be quite an interesting show. What do you think, BC?
I'm just getting all excited, waiting for people to start jumping in and blowing shit up.
And of course, the blowing shit up and the good fights are what we are all really here for in the end. This is EVE Online, and this is our home away from home. In some cases, for some of us, this is actually our home, and you know who you are. As PL is bouncing to the other side of the gate, again, I'm not really seeing much of a reaction from the Hero Coalition. I'm going to bounce to the iHub and double check just to see what's going on there. FBC, you just keep here, keep an eye on this PL gang for me. I'm going to take a look around.
Got the ice fixed.
And then, of course, another shout-out to our good friend Nick Fuzzy, another fellow EVE streamer and a live commenter galore, home of the Dancing Skeletons and the Wrecking Horn. Our good friend, check him out on Twitch, Nick Fuzzy. Again, great EVE streamer, brought you BTAC 5RB, the Titan Massacre of EVE. And again, if you would like to join us, if you're listening live, or if you would just like to join us in-game at any good time, we are in the chat channel hed-gp Smackdown, hed-gp all caps, Smackdown. Honestly, that one's all yours. We would love to hear from you. We'd love to hear some comments, concerns. Just let us know how we're doing. And again, I'm still not really seeing much of a reaction anywhere from Hero Coalition. Let's just take a look-see. Let's just go on over to the hed-gp station, see if we can find something. I really am thinking that that missing jump bridge might actually be a critical portion here. Because the inability to draw instantly and immediately fresh reinforcements from the marketing hub, GE TAC 8, in deep hero territory might actually be what is their undoing at this point.
I'm seeing several PL interceptors bounce off to what looks like a off-grid safe on the SV5 gate here.
It's possible, and then
maybe they tackle something.
they might have. Now, I am sitting currently 300 off of the hed-gp station, home of the Brave Newbies, and before them, home of the ancestral Honey Badger Coalition. May they long rest in peace. And as I'm looking off here, I see a couple of Molluses, Hurricanes, a couple of Interceptors, the famous Derpatron, and this is no more than approximately 10 to 12 pilots. It makes me wonder again, what's really going on tonight?
I can tell you definitely what's going on so far. There's about 100 Tengu sitting on the SV5 gate, and that's about it.
Yeah, that is certainly not something I would ever really want to run into. And let's just take a look here real quick. We've got a couple of good friends in the Hero Coalition that are feeding up the D-scan analyzers, the dreaded spy weapons of the CFC as feared by many. We are looking at a total composition right now, as of thus far, in the hed-gp system overall. 53 Tengus. Your 100 was a little bit off there, my friend. With a low-key... I see how that'll go for you. But yeah, we've got the 53 Tengus. We have 29 assorted interceptors. 4 destroyers, which is interesting, just standard destroyers. There are 2 sabers. I would assume those are both Pandemic Legion. There's a Guardian, which is interesting. I don't really see any fleets for the Guardian to be supporting, and I'd be very skeptical if those are armor Tengus.
The Garmer's there for moral support.
This is very interesting. I would love to see one of those Garmers go down with the scramming support that it would be offering. That's a lot of good, easy hits for those Tengu fleets.
We just saw a bunch of the PL tackle warp off to another what appears to be an off-grid safe and whatnot, so we don't know exactly what they're tackling, but I haven't heard anybody screaming about the carriers tackled yet.
Possibly. I also have eyes on what might be a PL Mauler sitting right off this small station gang, in which case we could be looking at a real wallop here coming up real soon. This could be really entertaining. This might be the fight we're looking for, not on the iHub, but possibly on the station, even though it does not actually come out for another day 15, which is interesting. So this timer is all about the iHub. However, I don't really see much of
We just had a Brave Sino go up. We just had a Brave Sino go up in hed-gp on the SV5 gate.
Let me get back here. Let's just take a look here.
This guy has got an amazing set of fucking balls. This dude he fucking signed in on an Ibis, signed in one carrier, and then lit a Sino on a carrier. And here comes a handful of Archons. Oh shit.
You said he lit the Sino in a carrier. He does indeed have a set of stones on this pilot. This is gonna be a fight to remember, I do hope.
So far,
and
they
again,
jumped in 6, 7 Archons.
Alright, and we begin to see the PL Tengu fleet begin to jockey for position here.
We got 8 Archons now.
Let's just keep a running total here, because there are the dead bodies of several brave scouts, and I'm not going to in any way try to undermine their hero tackle, but this might be what they were building up for.
Just gonna throw that random guess out there that given that they signed in the Archons, that the Sino Jammer did not go up.
I would assume so. However, now knowing that the Sino Jammer is down, this makes me wonder if this escalation, the Archon fleet led by Hero FC Blue Ice himself, this is going to be interesting, folks. Tell you what, it's going to be something. And again, join us in-game chat channel hed-gp Smackdown for all commentary, live links, and other sorted fun, such as that kill mail with the Battle Industrial. And again, we have Hero Dominic's, Guardians, Archon, all landing on grid. It looks like we might be getting a fight tonight after all, everybody. I have Armageddons, Asteros, Archons, all landing on grid, possibly bridged out of GE Tech 8, and the battle balls are trading shots. Tengu fleet is regrouping under Elise Randolph, assuming as FC here. This is a wild guess on my part, and I do not know FC for certain. And again, Blue Ice has rallied Heroes forces. Celestis, Excurs, Augur Navies, Armageddons, Dominics, they are all continually still landing jumping from whatever Titan they are bridging from.
This is
This
actually
is
pretty
what we are
amazing.
waiting for.
We're going to talk strategy here for a second now. Over here, we've seen more blues come on the grid. Looks like Hero just brought the Dami fleet straight into the gate. Looks like the Archon fleet was actually bait to draw the Tangus off the gate. And now what has actually
Quite
happened
possibly.
is the Archons are on one side, the Dominix is around the gate, and they have created a kill zone with the Tangus right in the middle.
And if you've noticed, off the gate, there is a Hero Ishtar fleet that has also landed. This is gonna be a fight to remember, folks. And remember, for every single one of those Tengus that goes down, that's a skill level of strategic cruiser that the PL pilots are losing. So, hey, I'm all for killing some Tengus. Got multiple interdict landing. Drag bubbles are up to protect the hero fleet, I'm assuming at this point. Unfortunately, BC is our resident tactician. Time dilation in system is up to 60%, which, again, granted heroes numbers, 60% is pretty good.
Oh, but there's a bunch of bombs going off on the carriers, and I'm not quite sure what that was trying to accomplish. Because it wasn't even
possibly trying to bomb off the drones?
You bomb off the bubbles, but if you're going to try to bomb off the bubbles, the idea would be to shoot them at the bubbles, as opposed to away from the bubbles.
It would also probably help if they were not your own bubbles trying to shoot off.
Yeah, there's little details there, but hey, what the hell? A for effort, right?
Hey, those are our Bravies, and we do love them for it. Again, this is the Braves home system, hed-gp, null-sec to high-sec link with Kebbers, the high-sec system. Makes it perfect for Brave, makes it actually a pretty good transit point for most people in the region of Ketch and Providence trying to get stuff to and from without having to rely on the new jump fatigue to wear them out a little early.
The only really thing Brave needs to accomplish now, Hero Coalition collectively as a general, is get a couple bubbles on top of those Tengus, and once that's done, it'll just be a killing spree for those dudes.
One would assume, but also, again, I'm also kind of wondering now at this point, Pandemic Legion has in the hole because PL, as well known, are possibly one of the best super capital forces out there as far as we will randomly drop our supers. It makes me wonder if some of those Tengus don't have some Sinos up their sleeves to counter this Ishtar fleet of multiple Ishtars. I'm counting well over 35 Ishtars. Multiple Dommies as well. Dominix numbering over 20. A handful of Armageddons for even more drone power. Excurs, Oneros, Celestis, Blackbird for E-War, Maulus for Damps. It's quite possibly a little bit of every single ship type out there with multiple fleet compositions, which, although not unexpected, not quite what I was anticipating from Hero.
Not seeing any of the Dominixes or Ishtars dying yet. I am seeing, looks like Tackle and miscellaneous ships like that, probably Maulus as well dying, but so far no major hits one way or another. They do seem to be bouncing to another attack.
Oh, and we might possibly have PL going in for a Hero Tackle, Hero Warp Point. Saw a couple of them warping into that amazing Brave Bubble of Death. Which, personally, I think I'm going to vote for that as their new fleet comp name, the Blue Ball of Death. And again, folks, this is only the shield timer. This is nothing final. This is nothing too far out there. There are electron bombs away, so it looks like somebody's brought bombers. I don't have visual. However, the grid is rapidly filling up with wrecks upon wrecks, and Brave has just lost a large portion of their fleet to bombing. I am going to try and get a look here and see what we have lost. We have lost multiple Celestises, Excurers, a handful of Ishtars. We've lost almost one entire Brave blob off to the right side of your screen there, which is very interesting. Makes me wonder if this was just the advantageous, there's a fleet here, let's bomb this, or if this might have possibly been Pandemic Legion, again, the old school block that they are representing here. It makes me wonder if this wasn't something that they're holding up their sleeves. And again, if you've got comments, concerns, you let us know. If you have a theory as to what's going on, if you're listening live, if you're listening recorded, join us in the hed-gp SmackDown chat channel. We would love to hear from you. Heck, chime in, tell us what you think, see what you think of their strategies, lack of strategies, anything you think we want to know, and if we like it, we might just bring you on air. In the meantime, again, multiple heroes just dropping. Maybe not left and right, but definitely dropping rapidly. They've lost a handful of their interdictors. The Archons are all still active. However, I can't tell from this range if these are triage Archons or attack Archons. Can you get a look at that for me, BC?
I am trying to zoom in right now. It's getting a little choppy, but I'd have to assume they are Sentry Archons. At least it would make sense, given that they're shooting Tengus and their armor fleet is warping all over the place.
Well, that's another thing that makes me wonder. It's an up, and we see Pandemic Legion is regrouping. Let's see, are they warping out or just regrouping? They are regrouping at attack. The pods are everywhere.
They do have a cap chain up, so they're definitely not in triage at this moment. Although there is one Archon that literally just signed in, going, "Hey guys, I'm here. Wait for me." Like 5 minutes later, there's another one.
Well, you know, everybody knows that guy. That guy. Hey guys, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom real quick. Sino is green. Everybody knows that guy, and in some circles, you might actually be that guy. If you are, you know who you are. I'm counting pods everywhere. Well over 35, possibly 40 pods. The Dominic's fleet, however, still with their vast numbers, appears to be holding. I have Phobos landing on grid, a heavy interdictor. They're going for those capitals. I would imagine. No, that's a blue. That is a hero heavy interdictor. Is this possibly them getting prepared to be dropped?
No, this is a little more of controlling the field on the half of Brave and everything. With that Hick bubble up, if that Tengu fleet warps in any direction towards the actual capitals, Dominixes, or anything in that general area, they will get sucked right into the bubble, right into the optimal of all of their newts and all of their sentry generals. It'll just be a Tengu massacre.
Yeah, that it would be. There's also another Sino field up. Approximately 11 AU, possibly off of the iHub. I'm going to go take a look here. I didn't see that pop in all of the excitement we've got going on at the SNFV gate. Let me go take a look at that real quick. You keep them over here busy for me, BC.
If you guys are just noticing local, we set a post from Natural Causes. This is a memorial fleet for our close friend Hurley. So I can get you that
May he rest in many pieces, our good friend Hurley, and possibly the second or third most expensive Titan loss to date. As what I'm hearing, I can't personally confirm this as I am a poor new bro, and I do not fly the Titan, the flying coffin that it is. However, I will always be happy to join in on killing one.
Amen to that. A little backstory on what happened last night. Reportedly, there was a recently reinforced POS in Victor 3, and a couple of dudes sent in 2 bait dreadnoughts, apparently. PL Macaro fleet came on grid, killed one of the Nagafars, was working on a Moros, I believe it was. And somehow or another, I guess Hurley got the idea, hey, I want to jump in and doomsday that dreadnought. And he just kind of did it, and they got a tackle on him. And shortly after that, Black Legion poured through a wormhole, as well as Hero Coalition started pouring in from GE TAC, and all of a sudden we had a dead Titan from Hurley.
And the amusing part is actually is that Titan deaths are not nearly as uncommon as they used to be. It used to be, and again, this is possibly before my time, but when a Titan died, it was big news. Now it's not quite regular or sort of faded out, but at the same time, it's not quite the ground-shaking news as when ages past the great Titan Steve was first destroyed. It's not quite of the same magnitude. You know what I'm understanding here? Well, then also given the block warfare status of Nullsec, to kind of break into Nullsec anymore, you also kind of have to have a few Titans, if for nothing else, then so you have the ability to defend your territory. And then, you know, consequently, even with the Phoebe changes, I'm still not seeing quite as much as I would like to see. However, the Capitals returning to Lowsec is definitely a nice change.
Oh, definitely, man. Reports have been talked to with different guys around different parts of Lowsec, dude. Capitals are like almost every day now. Craziness.
And in order to reship, we've got multiple capsules self-destructing. I often wonder what the destruction mechanics of that had the potential to be. Makes me wonder if I could self-destruct my pod in the middle of the fleet and inflict AoE damage. It makes me wonder just how well that could work as a tactic. And as a senior alliance CEO and glorious leader to multiple nullsec corporations out there, I'm wondering what your take on this is, BC. What do you think about suicide bombing ships?
I've never been a fan of it personally. And dude kind of like took suicide bombing to a whole new level by bombing his fucking Titan. And well, there you go.
And as we're getting further into this battle, as you can see, more hero are dropped. We're down to just a handful, maybe 15 or so Dominics, a small handful of Armageddons, although there weren't many of those to start with. The Excurs are dropping. However, granted the fact PL is taking losses, I'm not seeing the kind of losses I was expecting. Now, yes, most of the Hero Ishtar Blob and the Guardian Oniro support wing are still intact. However, this is really making me wonder. We've got Best and Brave newbies. I haven't really seen as much from Sound Mind, however, this is a little bit out of their normal range. This is an interesting fight to be sure.
I haven't seen a single Tengu pop yet. Either my overview could be blocked full of blues and reds and everything, but we'll see.
Yeah, it certainly is definitely interesting. The way the Tengus. I have seen a handful of Tengus pop, which, again, poor loss of skill points. The strategic cruisers, unlike the new strategic destroyers coming out, which are going to be an interesting thing, I must say. Spanning over the next 4 releases, releasing one new tactical destroyer. Without the skill loss and without the subsystems, I wonder how it's really going to play out as compared to some of the others. As in, when you get the new ships and the new subsystems for a T3, it's extremely dependent on how you fit it with the various subsystems as to how it's going to perform. With it just having fixed bonuses in 3 modes, it's a lot easier to counter, but I think it's also being easier to deploy. We might see them, however, again, granted the invention costs are going to skyrocket through the roof, much as the Nestor and the Barghast all did when they first made their debut.
I'm actually getting new intelligence in right now too, talking to various sources and everything. Reportedly, these are actually the Slippery Pete Tengus. They are not full shield fleet scimitar, full shield fleets Tengus here. These are actually the 120, 100 click Slippery Pete. Haha, I'm shooting you and you can't tackle me. And oh, by the way, I'm more
The
way. Why I just killed you?
unprobable Tengus.
I don't necessarily buy the totally unprobable, but you know, we'll find out. I guess they're not totally unprobable. Somebody has got a bomb run on them, and there they go.
Well, bombs are away, and we have Tengus dropping. At least a handful of Tengus took damage. One was destroyed. A stiletto went as well.
I do kind of question the validity of shooting thermic bombs at Tengus. If I'm not mistaken, their hole is in the explosive and the EM area.
It is interesting, I will say. And there goes our good friend Nick Fuzzy. You will be missed, my friend, from the battlefield, as you have been destroyed in the bombing run. Rest in peace, my friend. Meanwhile, I, as that unfortunate cameraman, I almost got caught with a fleet warp, which would have been incredibly unfortunate.
Somebody clearly didn't flag themselves exempt.
Unfortunate, I know. I am just that guy. Everybody knows him, and nobody wants to be him.
That guy just, you're like that guy that we have the entire Archons on the field. Then 20 minutes later, the dude signals in. He jumps in and goes, "Hey guys, I'm here. Had to take a dump."
Well, what can I say? I've got charming personality.
Period.
Alright, now that we've taken care of that unfortunate almost problem. And we're back to the live commentary again. Multiple Tengus are dropping. Let's see about getting a better angle here. Again, chat channel in-game, hed-gp Smackdown. We would love to hear from you. Anybody out there watching, listening, we'll have this recording up within 24 to 48 hours, given random internet time, and the fact that the internet does hate most of us. I have what looks like a PL Nidhogger landing on grid, so we might be seeing the PL Supers coming out to play. Multiple interdiction probes out again. We have Sino in the middle of nowhere, which could possibly be them leading in here.
We shall soon see.
And Nidhogger again, landing Nidhogger, and again, our good friend Nick Fuzzy still continuing to broadcast from Crusader. I do apologize. I do believe someone below him got blown up. I do apologize for misleading the lovely audience out there. Still broadcasting live from the scene, and that is always good to see. Again, the genius behind the Wrecking Horn and the live footage of BTAC 5RB, the Titan Massacre. Our good friend Nick Fuzzy. Check him out on Twitch TV, everybody. You'll love some of his stuff. And as the fight is continuing on, we've been fighting for approximately, 15 minutes? 15, 20 minutes, would you say here, BC?
That's a good ballpark number, yeah, 15, 20.
I would say between 20 and 30 minutes we've been fighting here. And again, the Slippery Pete Tengus, unprobable. For those of you who are not familiar with them, the Tengus have their ECC boosted to the point where the combat scanner probe cannot probe them down, which would provide a convenient warp in for anyone trying to attack. Makes them, as the name would imply, incredibly slippery and hard to catch.
Well, it looks like somebody just probed. Do you guys see that bombing run that just went off? The square on the fucking nut.
That was a beautiful bombing run. I am not going to lie. Did you catch any names on those birds? I thought I caught a couple of familiar names there.
It looked like that was the Bloodline crew hitting it up.
Well, hey, give them props anytime. That was a beautiful bombing run. Multiple kills, however. It also looks like Demic Legion is taking this opportunity to regroup. And they are no longer on grid. I am going to declare this grid given to Hero Coalition in defense of their system. However, I think there's more to be seen in this fight than what is currently being displayed. And in their traditional combat ritual, Hero is dropping mobile track units to loot the field. Many props to them. As a good friend of mine once said, you've got to do what you got to do when you are broke. And the mobile tractors are coming down. Bubbles are dropping. Let's see if we can get another eye in on those guys up in the Pandemic Legion crew. Again, anybody listening or watching, join us in the hed-gp Smackdown chat channel. We'd love to hear from you, get some comments, concerns, and just any strategic insight you might have that we might have missed. Again, we're not perfect. We never claim to be. Gonna pass this one back over to BC real quick while I take a look around, see if I can find these Slippery Petes.
They actually just landed right back on grid, about 300-ish off the gate, give or take.
Well, then save me some effort, why don't you?
I do my best.
And you're doing dang good job at it. Let's see if those Bloodline guys come around for another bombing run. They've done 2 runs now thus far. One wasn't quite so hot. That last one, however, was a beautiful bombing run. I am not going to lie. I'd have caught a couple of heroes in there. Collateral damage with bombing runs is unfortunate, but it does happen.
Looks like
and the hero forces...
It looks like in both instances, though, Slippery Petes were able to slip right out as they are nullified. They are extremely agile and extremely hard to probe. So the best instance you can hit on the Slippery Petes is literally just wait till you see them landing, ping them really fast, and land right on before they have a chance to completely land the line and get out again.
I must say that is the truth. And then, amongst these lovely Pandemic Legion flyers, I'm seeing several familiar names, several that some people might know. Our good friend Elise Randolph in the Tengu without his booster all running on his own today. He's running Tengu fleet, and it does appear the Tengus are leaving once again to the other side. Let's see where we can go for them. They are indeed slippery little suckers. I will give them credit. All right, folks. And as we try and get a link down on those Tengus, we're going to take a real quick commercial break. Again, join us we are live on YouTube/EPA Protection. Again, EPA Protection is the YouTube. We are live in game chat channel, hed-gp SmackDown. We would love to hear from you. We're going to have this recording back up and live on air. We're going to be broadcasting again within 48 hours. We're going to have this back up in case you missed on and missed the fight. But again, we would love to hear from you. hed-gp SmackDown. We'll be right back with you here in just a few minutes. And welcome back, everybody, to the hed-gp Smackdown. To apologize for the break there. Unfortunately, talking is hard. And in the intervening time, it would appear this fight is over, as an SBU sovereignty blockade unit was destroyed, no longer rendering the iHub vulnerable for an attack. We missed this during the amazing, lovely fight. However, Hero has flooded the system, numbering well over 800 pilots in the system, all flying under the blue banner of, quote, friendship. Which you can draw from this whatever you like. They've all retreated to their former jump bridge pass, where the original was destroyed. I'm assuming a new one is going to be installed within the intervening few days to prevent another incident such as this happening. But yes, with the sovereignty blockade unit destroyed, there is nothing to be killed, no fights to be had, and Pandemic Legion has left the area.
There's actually one heretic that decloaked from Pandemic Legion on the gate. I guess he's just taking a little view.
Meanwhile, in local, our good friend Hurley's avatar just refuses to die. It's quite funny, actually. I'm just watching it keep scrolling and scrolling, and it's never going to get old.
For those of you that are not familiar, Hurley was popular for dropping his Titan non-riding carriers, doomsaying them, and GTFOing. I guess he just did it one too many times.
And getting absolutely destroyed in the process, generating a kill mail that, while not quite rivaling the Revenant, has indeed gone viral, as everyone that could potentially make it to the scene was in on that kill mail. There are rookie ships, stealth bombers, all the way up to super carriers trying to get in on that kill mail. It is indeed the place to have been. But again, meanwhile, we continue a wrap-up here of the broadcast. The Brave fleets are all retreating back to the station and to their POS in GE TAC 8. Again, their home system successfully defended to all appearances, with the destruction of the SBU, rendering the system no longer vulnerable for attack. It is simply contested, and Brave has successfully defended. What do you think about that fight today, BC? I mean, it was definitely an interesting start.
I think it just goes to show again, you can have a big stick, but even a big stick may be broken.
And unfortunately, I think you were right. However, I think it's more my stick was in the wrong place at the wrong time, just looking for the good fights rather than looking for flipping the station.
Well, they were spamming a local. This was the Hurley Memorial Titan fleet or whatnot, so I'm sure that had a little bit to do with it as well.
And our good friend Hurley's Titan, again, the total fittings, total worth of this ship was 96 billion. Again, that is billion with a B, paying out a meager 69 billion of that in his insurance for the Titan. Again, personally, if I'm going to be flying a Super Capital, I'm going to insure the thing because, well, if nothing screams kill me, it's a Titan. And this thing was as, pardon the expression, pimped out as you could possibly get. He's got Officer Smart Bomb, Officer Cloak, Officer Newts, Pirate Faction Newts. He's got his, of course, Doomsday device, Judgment Doomsday for the Avatar, Republic Fleet Disruptors, again, more Dead Space and Pirates in the mids, Pirate Faction Micro Warp Drive, Dead Space Rechargers, and Modified Sensor Boosters, A-Type armor all across the board. The Tech 2 Large Trimark armor, this ship was definitely primed to roll.
And the extra cash for Mr.
And of course,
Hurley
as
here,
a true Eve player.
And the extra cash for Mr. Hurley here, he actually had some ships in his cargo bay too. A Saber, a Imperator. Not all Titans are not complete without having an Imperator in the ship maintenance array. And he was also loading
and that, of course, being one of the fun parts. Also managed to sneak in a couple of books in his cargo hold. The good old Amarian Classics. Good book, great read. I recommend every capsuleer try it and keep it in their cargo hold just so we can make fun and mock them.
It looks like
but again, BC
here on the SV5 gate, and Brave is now anchoring their own defensive SBU.
All right, and now for those of our listeners in high-sec, wormhole, low-sec who aren't familiar with the concept of soft warfare, explain the practice of the defensive SBU.
defensive SPU is there. While it does render the system vulnerable for anybody to hit it at any time, since you control the SPUs, you can shut it off and render your system invulnerable at your own will, and at least gain yourself 3 hours to work with. As opposed to a hostile SPU where you are forced to destroy it before you can make your system invulnerable.
And anyone that has ever had to grind structures will know that that is not a fun time. Not by any stretch of the imagination.
However, it's recently become a lot easier with the feeding patch. SPUs and iHubs and stations all got their hit points reduced by 50%.
Which has been incredibly nice for those of us who have unfortunately been the lower ranks, drawn into repeated bashings of various soft structures. From personal experience, not fun. It's just never a good time bashing the structures, and your own defensive SPU personally is a good touch. It's a nice trick, it's a great idea, and it's one that I've seen employed in almost every major inhabited null-sec system. It's a very popular trick, it's a very conceivable, workable trick, and when their SPU comes online, again, this system will be solidly back under Brave control. However, I would rather start walking this one through the fight. I mean, in the beginning, Pandemic Legion was here, there was no real contest, and then Hero just started popping out of the woodwork. Where do you think this all came from?
I think it came uniting under the banner of, we need to save hed-gp because hed-gp is one of our main systems and everything. There's obviously a jump bridge here. There's been a jump bridge here, regardless of which alliance or major coalition held it for the last at least 2 years that I know. I was originally in catch with the HBC back in the days. And it's the same jump bridge that was here, same planets, same moons, same everything. And it looks like locals actually starting
now,
to build
again,
back
for those
up.
of our listeners that
Up 30, 40, focus climbing, might be seeing some more action.
possibly, I would wonder where it's be going down at, however. Possibly just more blues rolling in. I have yet to really see any hostile presence in the local channel. And with the overwhelming numbers of blues here, it is really definitely going to be hard to be taking anything at this point. As I can see, the Brave have anchored their new jump bridge. The jump bridge will soon be operational. For those of you who live in Catch, this is indeed quite a convenience. And with it missing, you didn't realize how much we truly counted on that jump bridge being there.
Do we have an updated local count? We're at 950, but do we have a little...
Local count at this time is 950, with almost 850 of them being blues. I would wager most of the major fighting at this point is over, which, unfortunately for my wager being wrong, I'm going to have to throw this fight to the Hero Coalition, who successfully managed to pop out of nowhere and successfully defend their interests, which I'm incredibly proud of them. That's our brave newbies and our, at one point, shattered test, please ignore, coming back together and starting to get their feet under them. Even given the Providence War, I think that Brave might have some surprises in store for us.
Definitely interesting to see in the weeks to come.
It definitely will be that. And at this point, I'm going to be wrapping up this broadcast. Again, this has been the hed-gp Smackdown, brought to you by Bloodline News Incorporated. I am Chaos Utama. This has been BC Pro, and we'll be back next time that there is a major catch engagement to bring you the live coverage, full coverage, and nothing but what we see. Coming to you live from the fantastic region of Catch, I am Chaos Utama. Have a good night, everybody.